Hi everybody, I'm Peter Lear, Chief Product Owner for Ways of Working at Nationwide Building Society.
And I'm Kimberley Wilson, a Value Realisation Partner at Nationwide Building Society too.
Today we would like to share with you some of our insights into introducing OKRs into Nationwide. It's meant that we've buffered up against some interesting issues which relate to people's cultural norms, old ways of working. But we want to share with you what we've learned on the journey to try and help you to accelerate OKR delivery and value management in your organisation.
So we are from Nationwide Building Society. It's the world's largest building society, though we're not actually a bank. We're a mutual organisation, which means instead of being owned by our shareholders, we're owned by our members. So whatever profits we make, we give back to our members. So we returned about $750 million profit to our members last year, for example. And being quite such a member-focused organisation means that we're number one for customer service in our peer group. We're the UK's most trusted financial brand, and hot off the press, we've just got which best banking brand of the year, which is quite ironic, seeing as we're a building society. But there we go. And we pride ourselves over, so we've got 5 cornerstones that we run our whole organisation by, and even in the cornerstones that you can see in the middle, we put things like pride, which is putting members first, doing the right thing. So the members are really integral to how we run things.
Thanks, Kim. So as an organisation, we'd like to believe that we've got great culture and we've got a great set of values that we run our organisation by, and we really do care for our members. But being over 100 years old, we've got lots of traditional behaviours, we've got lots of things around how we manage the organisation, historically through command and control style of behaviours. So moving to more agility, business agility and agile ways of working has been quite an interesting journey that we started about 3 years ago. At the moment, some of our average time to value takes us around 2 years when we're looking at change initiatives. And often we've been finding that our benefits expectation is misaligned with what really happens. So that creates an interesting tension when it comes to building trust around how we deliver change and how we get buy-in from stakeholders. And one of the great things about the organisation is that we do have a really strong set of mutual values. We really do take care of our members and we really do take care of our colleagues. But sometimes that mutual mindset actually means that you're taking collegiate decisions all the time, and it can be really hard to drive change through the organisation because you're moving at the pace of every individual. You're not taking some strong decision making. And that's been one of the barriers that we've encountered in the organisation when it comes to trying to introduce a new way of working around using value and objectives and key results to drive outcomes. So we start here with a quote from Elon Musk. I take the position that I'm always in some degree wrong, and the aspiration is to be less wrong. It's a really great growth mindset, and it's one that we've been trying to encourage within the organisation. Because we're typically risk averse within the building society, it's hard to get people to feel comfortable with experimenting. But that's an approach that we've been using to actually drive this change around objectives, key results, and being really centred on value. So the first thing that we've done is a bit of thinking. So about 2 years ago, based on advice from external organisations, we started to try and do Agile. And that was great for some of our early adopters, people who could see that this was a different way of working and were brave enough, courageous enough to try it. But those early adopters were in the minority. And actually, it proved really difficult to try and get the organisation to move its mindset to all things Agile. It was a slow journey, and we've been on that journey now for a couple of years. And it wasn't until about a year ago, when we had a new chief operating officer join, that we started to see an acceleration in that mindset change. And moving to what we like to think of as some 10x thinking around how we can drive change. and also spotting and helping to correct some fragile behaviours that we've seen as well, where we've been labelling things as agile, but they're not really that. They're just waterfall, but with some different labels. The opportunity to kind of reflect and look at what we were doing meant that we went out and did a lot of research. We identified that you just can't apply a Google mindset to a building society that's been established for over a century within the UK. But what we did notice was that it was a groundswell of interest across the organisation, particularly in middle management teams and lower level teams working with real impediments blocking their way, to try and do something different. So we started to scope a problem up and get feedback from across all of our teams, collect those impediments that they were facing into, and recognise that a lot of what was happening with our early implementation of OKRs was that we were just swapping one reporting system for another one. And that wasn't unlocking the true potential that you get from OKRs. So we had to go back to the start and think, what were we trying to achieve? And one of the things that we noticed was our understanding organisationally of what is value and how do you create good outcomes was lacking. And we had to go back and revisit that and come up with a better way. So we started to do some experimenting. We rewrote some of our material around what we thought you were trying to achieve with objectives and key results. And also we had a real in-depth think about what is value. You know, how do you define value? And we came up with some key drivers around 4 things which are valuable to us as an organisation. And then trying to make